Hey family, Shar here with another family meeting to talk about estate planning, leaving a legacy, thinking about how you want to be remembered when you come to the end of your adventure here on earth. And today, just want to touch briefly on the topic of trust. Why is there so much discussion about trust going on right now and whether or not you need one? So, first of all, I kind of want to start with like an origin story, right? Because in law school, this is what we were taught about trust, the definition. we Law school, the entire semester, what they taught in law school was only the definition of a trust. So a trust is three parts. Think of it like a triangle. There is um, at the top of the triangle, that is the grantor. Sometimes you'll see settlor. It means the same thing. This is the person who owns property and who has decided to transfer their property to a trust, the settlor or the grantor. The next part of the triangle, we'll say this angle right here, is the trustee. The trustee is the second essential part of a trust. And then finally, the third part here of the triangle is the beneficiary. So the trustee is the person who is entrusted with managing the trust according to the grantor's wishes. The trustee is expected to treat this property as though it was theirs, even though the property belongs to the trust. And the beneficiary is the person or persons who receive the benefit of the trust. So, who is the property being left for? Who is the income being created for? That person is the beneficiary. Now, where a lot of people have questions boils down to, can I just do my own trust? Yeah, you could definitely do your own trust. There's tons of, at this point in technology and law, there are legal forms everywhere. You can get a trust done. I've even heard of some sites for free. And understanding who you are as the person who is maybe the grantor and the trustee, or maybe the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. What the law recognizes in most estate plans is your ability to be all three: the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. And this is what we call a revocable living trust in most situations, where you, as a person who owns the property, transfers the property so that you no longer own it, but you're also still managing the property for your benefit. You are creating a revocable living trust, and you are in all three seats of the required pieces of a trust. And believe it or not, in my law school, I don't know about anyone else's law school, we never saw a trust document. So I remember going into my legal practice, and at legal aid, we didn't need to know trust in most situations, simply because our clients were of very little means. They didn't have stuff. And uh, that was just outside of the scope of what typically at legal aid is dealing more with essential types of legal practice. And I ran into a situation where my client needed a trust to protect their Social Security benefits in an event where they were expecting a settlement from a personal injury lawsuit. And I went on the hunt to go get my hands on a template, a document, something that I could start with to develop this protection for my credit story. We wanted to get ahead of the lawsuit settlement so that this person did not lose their Medicaid. Like Medicaid that's attached to Social Security for many people is more valuable than the Social Security check. And under certain rules, when that money hits your account that month, you lose your monthly payment, you lose your Medicaid coverage. And that's what was going to happen to my client if we did not get a special needs trust. So I couldn't find anyone willing to share a template with me. And I ended up getting angry because I'm like, what's the big secret about trust? And it wasn't until I went into private practice. Our very first intern came in summer of 2020 and did some amazing legal research and administrative support for our team so that Law for Love could begin offering the legal support, understanding, structuring, and assistance with administering trust. So I say all of that to say all the buzz about trust is that if you have a home, you could transfer your home the way that a generation ago used to transfer homes to keep your family out of probate court. And what many families used to do, and some still do, they know they want to leave their property to their child or to their children. So they just go ahead and they do a deed and add the kids to the deed. Well, currently, you'll hear a lot of people speaking out against that method because there might be some tax implications for that type of transfer. I can tell you as an estate planning attorney that when we transfer a deed to a trust, that is a tax-free transfer. Doing a quick claim deed with you and your children as your way of keeping your kids out of probate court, the way that folk used to do back in the day. I've even heard it say, and I'm not a tax expert, so I never give tax advice. I always recommend that you speak to your tax preparer or your CPA to talk about tax implications of certain events. I can tell you that when we transfer your house to a trust as an estate transfer, that is a tax-free transfer. We do not pay taxes on that. We only pay for the cost of transferring the ownership. But in other transactions, other types of local, usually local or municipal taxes start getting involved. So what I've been hearing some financial advisors and people in the financial profession talk about is the value of the transfer is based on the current value of the house. And so it almost looks like you sold a house at your current value. Let's say your current value is $450,000. Well, now you're creating a tax liability for your child at the $450,000 rate based on what the initial purchase price was. So if the purchase price was $100,000, current value is $450,000. There's a $350,000 capital gain or taxable increase that can be attached to that transfer. So this is what I'm hearing financial advisors say, why they are emphasizing to their clients, do a trust. Don't do it the old way because there are tax implications. And so, as I share with all of our families, you always want to think about the key players on your team, right? You want to think about, okay, am I getting legal advice? Am I getting tax advice? Am I getting financial planning advice? And it's even better to get like all of your professionals in one call, in one meeting, and talk about what you need or what your plans are or what your concerns are so that all of your professionals can kind of be on the same page. Think of it like when you have a primary care physician and you have 2 or 3 specialists and nobody's talking to your primary care physician. Your primary care physician is supposed to be like the quarterback, or kind of like managing your care based on what all the other specialists doing. But if the specialists are doing what the specialists do and nobody talks to the primary care physician, the primary care physician may not be managing your care with all of the available information to have you straight. That's the best example that I can give. Why you want to invite your attorney to talk to your CPA, and you want to invite your financial planner, if the financial planner is someone different than your CPA, to a meeting with your legal counsel. Because for me personally, I can't speak for any other attorneys, but I love when there is another professional in the room who is able to give my client a tax strategy so that I can build the trust according to the tax strategy. So yes, you can absolutely do, for most situations where you just want to set up a simple trust, you only have the home that you live in, and you want to make sure that it gets to your kids without having to go to probate court, then I would say in that situation, if you find a very affordable online forms provider, absolutely, LegalZoom, Rocket Lawyer. I'm even hearing of another website, Law Depot or something like that. If you find something affordable and you want to go ahead and read carefully and follow all of the instructions, you can absolutely structure this type of very simple estate plan in a revocable living trust to keep your family out of probate court. That is the number one reason for a revocable living trust. You don't want your family missing you when you're gone, and then having to sit and wait in probate court and waste time and money, and in some cases even risk losing what you worked so hard for because it wasn't in a trust when you passed away. But if you have a more complex situation, if you have a business or several businesses, if you have multiple properties, you have properties in different states, you've been building and investing, and you have several different moving pieces, then what you want to do, you want to get all of your professionals on a conference call so that they can collaborate about the best tax strategy and trust structure for your situation. That's not the type of trust that I recommend you go and do it alone. But if you're doing it, it's just, Shar, I work a regular job. I only have the home that I live in, and I just don't want my kids to end up in probate. 99% of the time, I want to tell you, absolutely go for it. Do the forms, read the instructions, complete all of the steps. Just because you have the forms and just because the forms are notarized doesn't mean that you've completed a transfer. So you're going to have to follow all the steps. And that's part of what estate planners help you do, to make sure all the steps, all the boxes are checked off, that all of the legal requirements are in place. But that's all I wanted to have this family meeting. And if you're wondering, hey, Shar, why are you talking about this so much these days? Well, estate planning is really easy to procrastinate and kind of put on the back burner unless you're dealing with an emergency, unless you're dealing with somebody that's in the hospital, unless somebody is telling you, hey, look, I'm feeling like I'm getting ready to go. Most people don't make it a priority, but it is a priority and it should be a priority. So I'm here to be like that aggravated reminder by talking about it as often as I can, because the estate planning process is a series of family meetings, just acknowledging and preparing for the day that comes for all of us, myself included, and making sure that we are leaving a legacy of love and that we are living with peace of mind because we put first things first. So with that, be blessed and encouraged. And I look forward to hopping on, having another family meeting with you very soon. Please let me know if you have any questions specific to estate planning, trust, wills. Have you heard some things you're not sure of? You're wondering what's the best way to go about some things? I'd love to receive your questions. I'm also going to start doing this social media thing I'm supposed to ask you. Like this video, please, and share it with a family member. Share it with your kids, share it with your parents, share it with your siblings. Share this as a part of the family meeting so that we can all do our part and play a responsible role in taking care of living with peace of mind and leaving with dignity. Be blessed and encouraged.